Good evening, I'm Jesse Thomas, filling in for Todd Battis tonight. It's Tuesday, October 21st. This is CTV News at 6. Making news tonight. Fredericton police identify the victim of a homicide found near Two Nations Crossing. And a weekend shooting at a Halifax encampment site raises safety concerns in the neighborhood.
Another round of rain and showers arrives Wednesday with fair and breezy conditions to follow Thursday.
Live from our Maritimes News Center, this is CTV News at 6. Here is Jesse Thomas.
Good evening. Police in Fredericton say the discovery of human remains on the city's north side yesterday afternoon is now being investigated as a homicide. CTV's Nick Moore is in our Fredericton newsroom with more on what we know. Good evening, Nick. What's the latest?
Well, good evening, Jesse. It was this afternoon that Fredericton police identified the victim as 28-year-old Montana Solomon. It was yesterday afternoon at around 3:30 p.m. that Fredericton police say they responded to a report of human remains discovered in a wooded area near Two Nations Crossing. Police say patrol officers secured the area and confirmed there was a deceased female at the location. Earlier today, in a statement, police said that foul play is believed to have been involved and that they are investigating the death of Montana Solomon as a homicide. Later in the day, in another statement, police said they believe this case is an isolated incident and that they are not concerned with public safety without sharing any additional details. At this time, nobody has been arrested. Police say an autopsy is pending. They're also asking anybody who may have information to contact them or provide an anonymous tip to Crime Stoppers. Nobody from Fredericton Police was made available to answer additional questions today. Nick Moore, CTV News, Fredericton.
And St. John police have arrested a 36-year-old man in connection with an early morning murder on Monday. The accused appeared in court today, and while police say there is no risk to public safety, the hunt for additional suspects continues. CTV's Avery McKay has the story.
St. John police have made an arrest in the city's most recent homicide investigation in the Taylor Avenue area.
On Monday, October 20th, 2025, at approximately 4 p.m., as a result of this ongoing investigation, the St. John Police Major Crime Unit and our St. John Police Street Crime Integrated Enforcement Unit arrested a 36-year-old male suspect inside a business on University Avenue.
Kieran Lopez has been charged with first-degree murder, possession of a firearm while prohibited, and breach of probation order. Police identified the victim as 41-year-old John Robert Bashera. He was transported to hospital with a gunshot wound and was later pronounced dead. The accused appeared in St. John Court this afternoon and remains in custody.
The chief spoke recently to the media in regards to violent crimes being on the uprise. Obviously, yes, that is concerning, but we do what we can with the resources that we can to keep our community healthy and safe and secure.
Police are also continuing to investigate an incident along Foster Thurston Drive just after 12:30 a.m. Monday morning, which is believed to be connected to the homicide. They are asking those with security cameras along the road just to check their footage.
It was a motor vehicle accident that happened when the suspects were fleeing from police.
A police presence remained at the Somerset Acres Housing Initiative site just behind Taylor Avenue today, but police would not comment if the incident occurred here. The Somerset Acres Supportive Housing site is led by the province's Social Development Department in partnership with Housing NB and the City of St. John. The city declined to comment on the incident, while the province did not answer CTV's emails. Avery McKay, CTV News, St. John.
And a reminder, for more information on this story or any others you see in our newscast, visit our website, ctvnewsatlantic.ca. And police in Summerside are asking for the public's help as they investigate a fatal motorcycle crash this morning. The single vehicle crash was reported at 1 a.m. at the intersection of Water Street and Heather Moyse Drive. The 23-year-old driver was taken to hospital where he later died. Police are asking anyone who may have witnessed the collision or who may have dash cam video to contact them. And we continue our coverage tonight of the shooting Sunday morning at a city-sanctioned tent encampment site in Halifax for those individuals experiencing homelessness. As CTV's Emma Convey reports, the violence is raising safety concerns.
Lower Flynn Park in Halifax, a designated HRM homeless encampment, looks quite different today than it did over 48 hours ago, as the scene of a brazen shooting.
It does highlight the fact that no one in our city should be living in a tent. We need to be acting with urgency to identify dignified options for people to get indoors.
Police were called around 10 Sunday morning, finding a 30-year-old man with gunshot wounds in life-threatening condition. Police say this was not random, but it's incidents like this that leave those living in these spaces feeling uneasy.
Every day, that's a possibility. I try not to let that weigh me down, because the reality is the amount of anxiety that you're going to get from worrying about those things in its own will destroy you.
In a statement to CTV News, the city says it has various safety measures in place for these sites, including fire watches from 8 at night until 8 in the morning by a security company.
It's our public safety staff that are responsible for being there every day, really turning up to make sure that nothing untoward has happened. They can't see everything all the time, all at once, of course, and that's why we rely also on 311 and even 911, as was the case the other day.
The navigation elements to get them out of encampments as well. So there is some good work kind of happening on that lens. But yeah, you can't, they're just not safe space. They're outdoor spaces, right? They're not surveilled 24/7.
The mayor's plan is to phase out these encampments and move individuals to indoor shelters and housing options. The only 3 encampments in the municipality are Green Road, Barrington, and Lower Flynn.
Folks feel safer there than they feel in some service delivery structures. So that's telling in itself. But again, we can, we see good news stories out there of different types of affordable units being built, being provided to particular populations. We now really need to focus on kind of the encampment world and getting folks into same style of supportive housing.
Jesse, I walked through this encampment earlier today and spoke with a number of individuals living here, and reactions varied. Some say they feel safe, and this incident really could have happened anywhere, while others say anytime you're living outside, it's just not safe. Jesse.
Thanks for that, Emma. That's Emma Convey reporting live from Halifax's West End tonight. All right, let's go outside. Here's a live look at the Digby waterfront right now. Cloudy, 13 degrees. Let's get our first look at the weather now. For that, we go to CTV meteorologist Kaylin Mitchell. Not a bad day today, Kaylin.
Yeah, Digby would have been one of those areas that got first into the rain, so they were also one of the areas first to get out of it. We saw the cloud cover breaking up a little bit there. It's going to be partly cloudy tonight for the Maritimes, so some fog patches developing. Back to that rain, though, I only have some initial preliminary reports. Some of these reports came in from earlier this morning when there was still some rain falling. Others I was able to update throughout the day, but you can see across a wide portion of the Maritimes, this rain came in about 3 to 15 millimeters, with a few spots picking up a little bit more than that because of the presence of some brief downpours. One of those in around the Halifax area where rainfall totals came up between 10 and 20 millimeters. They've even got one localized report late in the day today from one area that possibly picked up over 40 millimeters of rain in the area. And you can get that type of variability when there are some downpours within the wet weather moving through. Now, taking a look at temperatures as we're moving into the first part of this evening, they're mostly now in the low teens. Winds are still a bit blustery. They're out of the south. They're going to remain out of the south tonight. The overall wind gusts continue to come down towards midnight, but they'll pick back up again as we move through the day tomorrow and actually become gustier by Wednesday evening and Wednesday night as another weather front moves in. Now, what's left of this system includes a scattering of some showers around northern eastern areas of New Brunswick, Prince Edward Island, the east of Nova Scotia. Those will be coming to an end as we move through this evening. The next weather system is coming in to the west of that, and it is currently making its way through parts of the Great Lakes in the northeastern United States. Rainfall amounts for that next weather system look pretty similar to the one that just moved through, and again, highly varied across the maritime region. Streaks of green here showing the possibility of some rainfall amounts that might be 10 to 15 millimeters, and the other stripes of lighter blues showing the potential for rainfall amounts that could finish as low as 5 millimeters or less. But that's coming in late on Wednesday. I'll talk more about it when I'm back a little bit later on. Jesse.
Okay, yeah, quite a color pattern there. Thanks, Kaylin. We'll see you in about 15 minutes' time for that full forecast. And now back to New Brunswick. The Susan Holt government delivered its second speech from the throne today, promising a number of changes in 2026, mostly around health care and the cost of living. But a balanced budget, it seems, is off the table. CTV's Laura Brown has more.
Navigating the future of trade and promises in healthcare and housing were the focus of Susan Holt's second throne speech.
In this unpredictable economic climate, committing to long-term investments requires measured flexibility.
So far this year, food exports to Europe increased by 46%, 23% to the Middle East, and 112% to Hong Kong. The whole government is pledging to grow trade within Canada too, but the majority of the speech was dominated by healthcare promises, adding 10 more collaborative care clinics next year, with the goal of increasing the number of New Brunswickers who have access to a primary care provider from 77% to 81%. But something missing, their original pledge to balance all of their budgets.
We do know where we are in terms of our financial position, and that's why we're telling New Brunswickers that there are tough decisions coming.
It reads to me as if they really didn't want to put anything in there that was going to cost any money, because we're likely facing an austerity budget.
If that's the case, opposition leader Glenn Savoy says it could have been avoided.
There's a whole lot of things that they could have chosen to do differently to ensure that they lived up to their promise to balance the budget, and they never did it. They can't just blame the Americans.
Holt told reporters choices are being made.
We will continue to be focused on their priorities of getting access to a family doctor, a nurse practitioner, health care close to home, like we've started and taken big steps forward on that file this year. Those are the investments that we're going to make, and in order to do that, there are tough choices to make.
And right now there are 24 days scheduled for this sitting of the legislature. And Jesse, as you know, that's 3 times as long as the fall sitting in Nova Scotia. Jesse.
Thanks, Laura. That's CTV's Laura Brown at the legislature in Fredericton. And staying with politics, Nova Scotia Premier Tim Houston has shuffled his cabinet with some big changes, including making himself the new Minister of Energy. Houston replaces Trevor Boudreau, while Scott Armstrong takes over for Becky Drouin as the Attorney General and Justice Minister. Kim Moslin assumes the role of Natural Resources, replacing Tory Rushton. Houston said the changes are part of his plan to make Nova Scotia a, quote, energy superpower and drive long-term economic growth. Boudreau, Moslin, and Rushton will all stay on as MLAs. Barbara Adams will add the Opportunities and Social Development portfolio, while John A. MacDonald is promoted to Municipal Affairs, and Cape Breton MLA John White becomes Housing Minister. A swearing ceremony was held this afternoon, but media were not invited. And Molson Coors has announced a significant job cuts plan, but it's not yet known how or if it will affect their Moncton plant. The company announced yesterday it'll eliminate about 400 positions, representing 9% of its workforce across North America. Molson told CTV News today there is not yet a breakdown of those job losses by country or province. They do tell us that no Canadian brewers or offices will close as part of these job cuts. The Moncton Molson Brewery on McNaughton Avenue has been in operation for 18 years. It's one of 5 Molson breweries in Canada. The company forecasted a drop in its annual profits back in August, anticipating some tariff impacts from the cost of aluminum.
Get the Maritime's top stories, breaking news alerts, and watch live. Download the CTV News app.
And the holiday season is 2 months away. That's when some people start their shopping, but for others, they've already gotten well underway. A new survey says 3/4 of the population will maintain spending or even increase it this year, but nearly 60% of Canadians are stressed out about holiday shopping, making for a year of high stress, perhaps. CTV's Callum Smith has the details.
Fall is felt both outside with the leaves and inside with the decorations. But this hobby store has seen customers coming in since August starting to pick up Christmas presents, though it really picks up in December, and the holiday season holds a special meaning to the manager.
As a kid, I got my first train when I was a kid from actually a fellow who works here with us 50 years ago this past Christmas.
But half a century later, on the business side, it's a totally different appreciation.
We depend on Christmas for probably the majority of our revenue. for the year.
The same can be said for many retailers. Maritimers are slightly below the national figure, though, each spending on average about $912.
We're seeing Atlantic Canadians, they're going to be spending less this year. It's only 1% down, but it's very telling. So we're seeing a very strategic shopper. We're seeing some concern amongst people about how much should I spend? Am I worried about my job?
That's according to the latest Retail Council of Canada Leger Holiday Shopping Survey.
You are seeing a trend in Atlantic Canada where we're still spending a lot, and I love the fact that we're spending on others. But you know, we used to be the number one region in the country as far as retail sales when it came per capita.
That's per capita, but now we've fallen to third or fourth, a true sign of the economic times.
I'm pretty much done.
Amazing.
I have one person left to shop for.
She says shopping early allows for better budgeting, spreading out the costs. Others don't care what time of year it is.
I just pick up when I see it. Just basically that.
So there's no start date for you?
No.
Some people like to be more on the edge and do their best work down to the wire.
Probably a week before Christmas, like most men do, right? Oh, it's stressful.
Others put their eggs in the Black Friday basket, trying for the best deals. I spoke to one woman who didn't want to appear on TV, but she said she's almost finished her holiday shopping after starting in August. That's someone certainly a lot of us could take notes from, myself included. Maybe next year, though. After all, Christmas is just over 2 months away. Jesse.
Okay, thanks for that update, Callum. That's CTV's Callum Smith in Dartmouth Crossing. And a note for motorists in the Halifax area this weekend. The McKay Bridge will be closed for some maintenance work. It'll be closed to traffic from 8 p.m. Friday until 5:30 Monday morning. Halifax Harbour Bridges say this will allow crews to safely remove cable inspection platforms and the demolition of the back ramp of the McKay Bridge garage. The closure is also weather dependent. The McDonald Bridge will remain open. And the Halifax-Dartmouth ferries will be free for all riders this weekend. Just another option, perhaps. And there's a bit of good news for the North Atlantic right whales. Marine researchers say the latest population estimate for the critically endangered species continues a positive trend of slow growth. The North Atlantic Right Whale Consortium says the population is estimated around 384 animals for 2024. Now, that's a slight increase over the estimate of 376 in the previous year. The population had experienced a steady decline from a recent high of 500 animals in 2011 to a low of 359 in 2020. There were 11 right whale calves born in waters off southeastern U.S. this year. There have been no right whale deaths reported, thankfully, this year. All right, still to come, cloudy periods and some fog tonight. Kaylin returns with the full forecast, but next, 'twas the drought before Christmas.
My trees and the trees that I see around, they are stressed.
We'll cross the border into Maine to hear from Christmas tree growers about how the dry conditions are impacting their bottom line. That's coming up next. Welcome back. We've heard a lot about how drought conditions have affected farmers in our region here, but in neighboring Maine, the concern is for the state's lucrative Christmas tree industry. This summer saw only about half the rain compared to what the state usually gets. NBC's Sam Olson reports.
Here's a section of trees here that, are ready to sell.
Doug Fortier has about 8,000 to 10,000 trees at his farm, Merry Christmas Trees in Wyndham.
It takes a lot of work. It's not plant the trees and be done with them.
He says a lot goes into them, especially during a year with such little rain. He has an irrigation system to water his trees, which he says is a lifesaver, but not every farm is as lucky.
Absolutely, I am the irrigation system.
Matt Quinn owns Quinn's Tree Farm in Cornville and serves as president of the Maine Christmas Tree Association. He says the drought has been somewhat of a nuisance.
In a typical year, I don't have to stop what I'm doing. Farmers wouldn't have to stop what they're doing and go irrigate.
He says the more mature trees handle the dry conditions well once they have established root systems, but the younger ones struggle.
The biggest issue that we have is with the trees that we have planted this year.
He says about 20% of the trees he's planted this year have already died. That's compared to the typical 5 to 10% of trees, he says, that die in their first year. He says he knows some people who have lost about 3,000 trees they just planted in April.
My trees and the trees that I see around, they are stressed, but they're resilient.
Resilient, just like the farmers themselves, who can make up for their losses next year if Mother Nature is on their side.
That story from Sam Olson of NBC News Center in Maine. Now, still to come, more rain and showers on the way for Wednesday. Kaylin will have those details when we return. Stay with us. And a blanket of fallen leaves beginning to form there in the Dartmouth Commons. It was, a really nice day. We got that much needed rain there in Dartmouth, and then things cleared off. It turned out to be a beautiful afternoon.
Break out the rakes, Jesse. Some work that needs to be done.
Yeah. You'd be busy there.
How many leaves come down after just a little bit of a rain and blustery event this time of the year.
You're right. It kind of erased what I achieved on Sunday with the original rake. Now it's like getting it out again, but we're having fun. Yeah, round two, exactly.
That's right. Let's take a look at weather conditions across the country before we get back to the Maritimes forecast. So looking out west, cool, not too bad for October. We got 12 degrees right now, Vancouver and Victoria, 13 at Calgary, and 14 in sunshine at Edmonton. So quite nice right now at Edmonton. It's cloudy, sitting at 0 at Yellowknife currently, and at Iqaluit, sitting at 2 degrees. Winds have come down a little bit for them after they were underneath a wind warning yesterday. There's some rain making its way through parts of Ontario. That's the next weather system that is working its way eastward and will be bringing us here in the Maritimes the second round of rain and showers on Wednesday. Speaking of the Maritimes right now, 12 degrees at Fredericton, 14 in Halifax and Charlottetown. And in Newfoundland, Atlantic Canada as a whole, St. John's right now sitting at 6 degrees, and Happy Valley, Goose Bay 14, Labrador City sitting at 9. Taking a look at our forecast timeline for cloud cover and precipitation, there's a few scattered showers left in the region, mostly northern eastern areas of New Brunswick, few parts of PEI and eastern areas of Nova Scotia that will be coming to an end as we make our way through this evening. During the overnight hours, partly cloudy conditions for the Maritimes with fog patches developing, and some of that fog might be around first thing tomorrow morning, so watch for some areas of reduced visibility. Now, the fog will be dissipating as we move from the morning into the afternoon, but as that happens, cloud cover continues to increase from the west, and it's followed up by the arrival of some rain and some showers. Looks like by around early afternoon for western areas of New Brunswick, as well as parts of the southwest of Nova Scotia. The rain and showers continue to progress across the Maritimes as we move through Wednesday afternoon, Wednesday evening and night, and are mostly clear of the region by early Thursday morning, though first thing on Thursday we will be left with a chance of some lingering showers still around areas in Cape Breton. Once again, that round of rain and showers is expected to be a little bit streaky across the Maritimes. Highly varied rainfall totals. A lot of cases, they could be as low as maybe around 2 to 5 millimeters, but also with some spots that could pick up some rainfall totals between 10, 15 millimeters of rain, maybe even up to 20 locally. Taking a look at winds in the forecast for tonight, they remain out of a southwest direction. They do become a little bit lighter during the overnight hours, and tomorrow's winds southerly during the day. They start to increase in the afternoon, wind gusts coming up between 20 and 40 kilometers per hour, but become even gustier Wednesday evening and night as the front gets a little bit closer. Some of the peak wind gusts could get up between 30 and 50 and potentially as high as 60 around exposed areas of the Bay of Fundy coastline in New Brunswick and parts of the southwestern coastline of Nova Scotia. Low temperatures in the forecast for tonight will be falling into a range around 7 to 12 degrees for most of the region. Highs in northern New Brunswick for tomorrow between 12 and 14 in the northwest and 14 to 17 in the northeast. Down through central and southern areas of New Brunswick for tomorrow, most of the high temperatures 15 to 17 degrees. For Prince Edward Island on Wednesday, high temperatures around the mid to high teens as well, 15 to 17. Cape Breton for tomorrow with highs of 16 to 18 degrees. And for the North Shore and Eastern Shore of Nova Scotia, high temperatures between 16 and 19. Northern and central parts of the province can expect high temperatures between 17 and 19 for tomorrow. And in the southwest of Nova Scotia, high temperatures between 17 and 19 as well. Once again, it is a little bit milder on Wednesday because of the southerly direction of those winds, despite the fact that we'll have increasing cloudiness and eventually some rain and some showers. Now, taking a look at the 7-day planner for New Brunswick, coming up on Thursday, looks like a pleasant, although somewhat breezy day. A mix of sun and cloud, high temperatures around the low to mid-teens. Now, cooler on Friday with a mix of sun and cloud, and the cooler conditions linger into the upcoming weekend, even turning a little bit chilly by Sunday and into the start of next week, especially during the nights and early in the mornings. Mix of sun and cloud for Monday and Tuesday. For Nova Scotia in the forecast, coming up on Thursday, overall pleasant day, though breezy winds. Remember, on Thursday in the morning, there may be some lingering rain and showers around Cape Breton before that clears out. There's a low chance of some showers on Friday, cloudy periods and cooler temperatures in the weekend forecast, and a little bit chilly to start next week, though looking sunnier by Tuesday. And for Prince Edward Island, coming up in the forecast for Thursday, breezy day, high temperatures near 15 degrees, mix of sun and cloud on Friday. That's looking pretty all right. And then on Saturday, a little bit cooler with highs near 12, and then down to 10 on Sunday with cloudy periods, highs near 10 on Monday with a mix of sun and cloud, and a little bit brighter for Tuesday, sunny next week. Jesse.
All right, Wednesday shaping up to be a nice day. Thanks, Kalen. We'll check in with you later for the wake-up weather, though. And next, we'll talk about the Blue Jays' exhilarating playoff run. We'll chat with the CEO of Baseball Canada. And later on, we have this story.
Hi, I'm Evan. And I'm Aaron. We're the Turnbull Brothers. And coming up, we're going to tell you all about our Christmas Daddies Dream Guitar Raffle.
Okay, so coming up tomorrow, another chance to win $5,000 that we give away daily with Virgin Radio's 5K a day. Get that keyword at 7 a.m.
Also, get your shot at passes to the Discovery Center's Halloween party. It's 19 and up. Good luck.
It's a moment 32 years in the making. The Toronto Blue Jays are back in the World Series for the first time since 1993. And those who remember that era will recall the Jays winning back-to-back World Series titles. Now a new era of Blue Jays fever is catching on again. And joining us tonight from Fredericton is Jason Dixon. He's the CEO of Baseball Canada and drafted to the major leagues in 1994 by the California Angels. Jason went on to become an American League All-Star as well. He now oversees growth and development of baseball right across the country. Jason, thanks for joining us. You must remember the Jays winning it back in 1993.
Thanks for having me. Yes, I absolutely do. You know, when you start to put some years on it, it goes by. It's a lot longer than I thought it was. I remember where I was and what I was doing. But yeah, 92, 93 were a couple good years for the Jays.
What do you remember about that moment for baseball?
You know, for me at the time, I was in college in the U.S. and obviously a very proud Canadian. So to see the Jays kind of go through a couple years of winning it, it was, you know, very special. We were very proud of being Canadian, very proud of being a Jays fan. And I think just like that video right there, we were probably jumping up and down as much as anyone else when Joe hit the big home run.
Yeah, I think everybody who was around and a fan of the Blue Jays at that time remembers where they were for the magical moment. Your thoughts on the moment now, though, and in particular the Jays' performance against Seattle and the way they rallied last night in Game 7?
Yeah, I mean, I think when you look at every good team, it gets measured by those big games. And I think going into the World Series, you know, for the Jays to win it the way they did, you know, behind, you could see kind of, you know, some heads were starting to hang a little bit in the stands. But I think, you know, par for the course, Jays came from behind, won the game. They did that so much this year. And you know, timely hitting, you know, it's not always how many, but when, and you know, timely hitting from Springer. And it just, you know, it speaks to that team. They're not going to quit. They're not going to go away. And I think they're, you know, feeling pretty good about going into the World Series.
And there's the moment Springer hits the home run. I think, you know, you talk about the emotions of a game but of a series, you know, him having that knee injury and maybe doubting if he would play to rising to the occasion and having this moment to hit it. I don't know. Baseball just delivers all the time with some of these, you know, emotional storylines. It's incredible.
Yeah, it's it is a funny game. You're talking about the injury and unsure, and then I think the at bat before watching it, it was probably not one of his best at bats to turn around and do that off of the back end of that Seattle bullpen was impressive.
You hear the fans roaring there, but I think the Jays being unique here in Canada, we've got the one major league team to rally behind, but it's so special. I feel like the country is united again behind the Jays. It's really special. Just your thoughts on that. Do you feel that? And does that give them any advantage in any way?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, if you're going across the country, I think there's different, pockets will have different fan bases, whether it's West Coast, Seattle, or East Coast, Boston, New York. But as teams start to get eliminated, you see that Jays bandwagon, kind of get a little bit bigger. And the biggest advantage they have is being Canada's team and have a very proud Canadian base that, everyone kind of jumps on that bandwagon. And I think you saw it last night when they came home. Just, the atmosphere, I think, was electric, last night. And it is, as a player, you can feel that for sure. It's an advantage.
You've seen the sport evolve over the years. What kind of impact does the Blue Jays and their success and these playoffs run have on the game of baseball here, even at the grassroots, from even say youth registration, things like that? What does the Jays' success, I guess, translate into success here? Yeah,
it definitely translates. I think we see it. Like most, we probably see it in every aspect, but sports, I think you really see it, as Hockey Canada goes and some big wins, or, the women's soccer team went on a run, and it's the same thing with baseball. As the Jays go, it really has an impact on young kids and the sports that they want to play, and parents, and where they want to put their kids. And I think, this really helps. We're talking about baseball now deep into October, and we'll see the benefits of that next year when we get into registration, as more kids dream of becoming a Blue Jay, or dream of becoming a leaguer.
We've seen a real surge of Canadian talent, and we don't have to look far. In that series with Seattle, we see a first baseman who arguably was Seattle's best player. When you look at the Jays, a Canadian-born, technically, first baseman, and Vladdy, maybe the two best players on the field there, but you got other players like Joey Votto and other ones that are climbing the ranks. What do you point to for Canada for having such success and development as of late?
Well, I think that's just it. It's just the development. It starts at the grassroots and building the base of players, and then creating those opportunities. And Canadian kids are scouted more than they've ever been. We've got more volume into U.S. college and Canadian college, and then more kids obviously getting drafted. I think this year we were 25 or 27 players in the big leagues this year, which is a big number for us. It has been in a while. Right. So I just think we're seeing more and more Canadians make that jump and getting the opportunity to play, and I think playing very impactful roles once they get to the big leagues. Like you said it with Josh Naylor for Seattle. I mean, he's a former junior national team player of ours, and a big supporter of Baseball Canada. And those are the tough ones, because you want to see Josh be on the winning side of it, but you also want to see the Jays win. So
stuck in a hard spot there.
It's a tough one, right? Yeah. But we're pleased with where we're going with our Canadian talent. I think you're going to see more kids coming. Yeah, I want to ask you now about the World Series, obviously, and the Jays. They're up against a stacked Dodgers team. They won it last year for a reason, but names like Mookie Betts and Shohei Ohtani, who seems to be out of this world talented. How do you see the Jays matching up in this World Series? Yeah. You know what? You're right with the Dodgers. I mean, they've got the big names, and they've got some recent success. And quite honestly, I mean, we might be watching the greatest player to play in Shohei Ohtani. But that said, the Jays have got some depth too. And I think I talked about earlier, I love just the grittiness of, a never over type of attitude. They're going to need that every step of the way. I mean, I think they're going to get, they've got their own star power, but I think the Dodgers may have a little bit more. But I think when you get down to measuring, that grit, determination, I think they're well coached, well managed. I think you see a group of guys that really believe in each other and love playing together. you see Vladdy there. I mean, he takes a lot of criticism for maybe not caring, but when you see the emotion,
yeah, we saw last night.
When you see that last night, like that's the part that we all know. It's like, don't ever doubt that, because it's really there. You may not show it day to day, but I just like their grittiness. I like the way that they kind of play together, and I think they're going to grind it out. And if it goes 7 games, they've been there before, so I like it.
Yeah,
I like
we'll be in for a treat either way. It's going to be some amazing baseball to watch. We've ran out of time here now, Jason, but I want to thank you for taking some time to talk a little bit about baseball and the excitement around the Blue Jays. It's certainly going to set up for a great series, and I know you'll be watching every pitch for sure.
I will. Always happy to talk baseball, and thanks a bunch. Go Jays.
Right on. Baseball Canada CEO Jason Dixon joining us from Fredericton. Thanks a lot. Now, we've got more news coming up after the break, so don't go anywhere. And in the Lifeline tonight, children's peanut allergies have plunged thanks to recent advice. CTV's Amanda Debison has more.
New research shows fewer children are suffering from peanut allergies. The journal Pediatrics released a study finding a 43% drop in peanut allergies. The shift comes after a big change in national guidance in 2017, which encouraged early peanut introduction for babies. Experts say early exposure helps babies build food tolerance through the gut. The study also found peanuts are no longer the top food allergen in young children. That distinction now goes to eggs. Weight loss changes more than just the number on the scale. It reshapes what your body is made of, including lean muscle and fat. New research published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that 20 to 30% of rapid weight loss is typically lean body mass. Experts warn that losing muscle mass can slow your metabolism, reduce strength, and make it more challenging to keep the weight off in the long term. Older folks, people who are less active, and those with low protein in their diet are at the highest risk. Experts say build muscle with strength training 3 times a week and aim for 150 minutes of cardio that fits your fitness level. Add more protein into your diet from healthy sources like fish, eggs, Greek yogurt, cottage cheese, nuts, and seeds. Finally, people who have trouble going should put kiwi fruit on their plate. A recent report in a medical journal on human nutrition says eating 2 or 3 kiwi fruits per day can make a difference with constipation. Researchers say roughly 10 to 20% of people suffer from a form of constipation, which can be caused by stress, lack of exercise, and low fiber intake. If kiwi fruit isn't an option, other foods that can help include prunes, rye bread, yogurt, and oranges. With Health and Medical News, I'm Amanda Debison for the Lifeline.
And Katie is away on assignment for a couple days, but we are still on the scene regardless. And the Cape Breton twins, you might remember from Canada's Got Talent, are doing something special to give back this holiday season. As CTV's Daryl Reeves shows us, the Turnbull brothers have been getting local musicians to sign a guitar, and they're raffling it off to raise money for Christmas Daddies.
I guess the idea kind of came to us one night. We were going over the schedule, our schedules for the next couple months, and decided that we were going to have a lot of opportunities to meet some really cool people and some bigger names. And thought, well, why not grab a guitar and see if we can get some signatures on it and put it in for Christmas Daddies and try to help them raise some money. Yeah, I picked this guitar up just from Lon McQuaid, and I really like the color of the grain on the front. I thought it would look very good for signatures, but you know, it's a Martin X series. Some of the artists include like J.P. Cormier and Matt Anderson and Gordy Sampson, Matt
Trailer Park
Inglewood,
Boys.
Trailer Park Boys. Pretty funny story how we got a good amount of these signatures actually was back in June when they were doing the Cape Breton Hall of Fame show. They had like Matt Anderson and like Jimmy and Heather Rankin and Gordy Sampson and just a bunch of big names come out. And so we went to it, and I brought the guitar with us. And then when they went on break, we just walked out back like we owned the place. It just got a bunch of signatures, and now that she's pretty juiced up.
And they were all fantastic sports about it. We still have a number of signatures left that we'd love to get,
including some people like Foreigner, Blue Rodeo, and maybe Brian Adams. For those interested in buying tickets, you can go to our personal Facebook page, and right on the home page there's a featured post that includes a link to find the tickets at Raffle Box. You can also find them on the Christmas Daddies website. Christmas Daddies is an excellent cause, and they do a lot of great things, because there's a lot of kids out there and a lot of families that don't really have a whole lot of stuff to look forward to for Christmas time or any other holiday for that matter. So having the opportunity to help put a dent in that and help as many people as you can, that's a great thing.
And for more information about how you can get in to win this special guitar and support Christmas Daddies at the same time, go to the link section on our website, ctvnewsatlantic.ca. All right, and as we go to break, let's take a look at tonight's primetime lineup.
With Crash and Sarah Beth.
Nearly ran my car off the road over a minor detail. More on that tomorrow morning on the show.
Plus, win with the Move Mystery Wheel at 7:20.
To business news now in the markets. The Dow ended the day up by 218 points, and after a huge run-up this year, gold has had its worst day in over a decade. BNN Bloomberg's Marella Fernandez has more on that.
Gold has been surging this year as investors look for security in a quickly changing world. But today, it reversed course. After hitting a high yesterday above $4,300 U.S. an ounce, gold prices tumbled today. Precious metals were the biggest losers on the TSX. Some, like Aya Gold and Silver and Lundin Gold, down about 15%. The weight of gold and silver stocks also brought the TSX down several hundred points. Netflix reported its latest earnings today. The streaming company reported revenue of $11.5 billion for its latest quarter, just shy of what was expected. Netflix says a tax dispute with Brazil is cutting into its earnings. It had to pay about $620 million to settle the case. General Motors brought in more than $48 billion in revenue for its latest quarter, and the car maker says its financial outlook for the year has improved. That good news sent the shares up. GM says tariffs aren't expected to hit as hard, and car sales in the U.S. have stayed strong. Here are the closing numbers for the day. The Canadian dollar is up to 71.35. West Texas Intermediate crude is up to 57.24. Western Canadian Select is down $1.38 to 44.91. And the TSX dropped 527 points today to slip under 30,000. Those are your business headlines. I'm Marella Fernandez.
All right, Kaylin Mitchell joins us outside on the weather deck for your wake-up weather. Hey, Kaylin.
Hey there, Jesse. Pretty nice out here this evening. Wind speeds have actually come down a little bit, and temperature's pretty comfortable. A little bit of cloudiness overhead, but that's about it. Our view picture for tonight, this is a nice one. It's coming in from the southwest of Nova Scotia. It's from Amiros Hill, and it was sent in by Pearl Muse. Amiros Hill, the home community of I CTV Suzette Bellevaux. I actually went and talked to Suzette because I knew it was kind of in her neck of the woods, and turns out it's basically her hometown. Amiros Hill for tomorrow. Got some rain arriving. Looks like that'll start showing up in the afternoon. High temperature near 18 degrees. A day planner for tomorrow across the Maritime region. We'll see increasing cloudiness in the morning along with some fog patches. The fog patches will be dissipating as we head into the afternoon. And then taking a look at our day planner for the afternoon, you can see in through the greens, that's the next round of rain and showers showing up. So it shows up first in the province of New Brunswick as well as southwest of Nova Scotia. But then as we move through the afternoon into Wednesday evening and Wednesday night, the wet weather moves from the west towards the east. Some areas could finish as little as 2 to 5 millimeters, but with a little bit of luck, there'll be a few locations as well that pick up between around 10 and 20 millimeters of rain. Jesse.
All right, shaping up to be a decent day on Wednesday. Thanks, Kayla. And finally tonight, a special tribute to a beloved actor best known from the show Cheers. Chicago's officials honored the late George Wendt by designating the street where he grew up in the city as the honorary George Wendt Way. Friends, family members, schoolmates, and neighbors gathered on the block where the actor's former home still stands. Best known as Norm from Cheers, Maritimers might remember Wendt spent the summer of 2010 in Charlottetown, starring in Hairspray at the Confederation Center. George Wendt died in May at the age of 46. All right, this is our show. That's our show for tonight. Thanks for watching. I'll be back here at 11:30 with your late news. And remember, ctvnewsatlantic.ca has all your updates at any time. I'm Jesse Thomas, filling in for Todd Battis tonight. I hope you all have a great night, and we'll see you later on for your late news. I'll be filling in for Bruce Frisco again. Take care, everybody.
CTV News, the Maritime's #1 newscast.